All right, welcome to Gameaholicspodcast, episode 2. I'm your host, Kickler, here with my co-host, Archer, and today we have a guest. His name is Firemouth.
What's up?
Let's start off. We got some new computer upgrades. I got a SSD installed on my computer, and it is ridiculous how fast it's now boots up and everything. And as you can notice, we got a new mic, so we're actually coming through crystal clear for once. And Archer, do you want to say hello to everybody?
Yes, what is up, guys? We got some news and some updates on games upcoming.
But first off, let's introduce our guest. His name is Firemouth. He is a YouTuber, content creator. Firemouth, say hello to everybody.
If we want to be perfectly honest, I haven't done anything for YouTube for like a long time.
It's all right. You're still used to.
As soon as YouTube said, we're not paying you for anything because you don't have enough subscribers, and I was like, I'm done.
You know what, YouTube? I'll show you.
Maybe this will boost your channel, and then you can get going.
There you go.
All right, so how did you kind of get into gaming?
I'm old, guys. like NES old. Like Super Mario, Duck Hunt. Like,
Hey, there you go. Duck Hunt's fun.
We talked about our first console, and the first console I played games on was the NES.
Good.
So I can't be that much younger than you.
No.
And do you have a favorite game of all time?
All-time favorite game would be Metal Gear Solid.
Any specific one, or
just Metal Gear Solid, like the first one, like, well, not Metal Gear, the one that was on the NES, but like the Metal Gear Solid was like the game that I played the crap out of on like the original PlayStation.
Was it only on the PlayStation?
Yeah, it was only on the PlayStation.
Okay.
Any reason why that one stuck out a lot?
I played it a lot. I remember staying up like so long playing it.
Just hours and hours.
It was before I had a memory card. I beat the game with my cousin sleeping over. And we had to drive to the store to buy a memory card just to save it. Because on that game, like one of the Easter eggs was if you beat the game, you got like infinite ammo like the next time you played. And then if you beat the game, you had to do a couple different things. One thing you did would give you infinite ammo. The other thing you did, if you did the opposite, then you got invisibility. So you got like a cloaking device. And and you beat it twice, then you get a tuxedo and you look like James Bond, and you have both things, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyways, it's been a long time.
That's cool. I've never personally played a Metal Gear game.
Well, I have.
That's not too... Ground Zero. I started it up on the Xbox, and it started off with like a 45-minute cutscene, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Hideo Kojima is like famous for cutscenes.
Yeah, I figured that out after I tried to start that game.
It's like, was that new one that came out? What is it?
Days Gone.
Days Gone. I heard it had like, what, 4 hours worth of cutscene or something?
Yeah, something.
Even the original like Metal Gear Solid had like a bunch of cutscenes in it, and that was like old school PS1.
I don't
graphics.
mind cutscenes, but when it's 4 hours long through the story,
it's like, basically like you're playing a movie.
Yeah,
that's basically what it feels like. Yeah,
that's cool. Anyway, moving on into news and updates. Are either of you keeping up with the new Pokemon games?
I know that
because I will share all of my knowledge with you guys.
What is the one coming out? Pokemon
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield. That's right.
Yeah. It takes place in the Galar region. They released a new trailer on Wednesday where they showed off some new Galarian forms. It's similar to the Alolan forms. That's the tropical. That's like the really tall Exeggutor thing.
Oh, the dragon type.
They're coming out with some new ones of those. The ones that they showed was Weezing, who becomes a poison fairy, and he has a giant smokestack that kind of looks like a bong on the top of his head. And they also are changing Zigzagoon and his evolved form into a dark normal type and giving him an exclusive evolution called Obstagon. It kind of looks like a jackal from Halo almost, with a bunch of fur, and it kind of takes inspiration from Kiss, it looks like, because they all have, they're black and white and have like stars around their eyes, so it looks like Star Child.
Are they adding any new generation in this?
Yeah, so it's a whole new generation. Well, just real quick recap on it. They're adding new Pokemon because it's a new game. Mm-hmm. But the big controversy behind the game is they're removing the national dex. They're removing a lot of Pokemon. We don't know how many are coming through. We don't know who's staying, what's staying, anything at the moment. And so everybody's up in arms about, we're not going to have the 1,000+ Pokemon game. We're maybe going to have 400 to 700 maybe instead. So there's a lot of controversy behind that. They also announced one new Pokemon, and it changes forms depending on if it's hungry or not. So there's a full belly and a hangry mode, and it kind of looks like a wannabe Pikachu with short ears. And the new form seems to change a lot of its attacking. They also came out with the rivals Beedee and Marnie, and the antagonist group Team Yell, who is the Marnie's wild fans, is kind of what they're quoting as. And the trailer ends with Marnie throwing a Pokeball, hinting that she probably has a very special mon specific to her that will be shown later on. And then the Japanese trailer released information about Poke Jobs. Basically, it seems like you can send your Pokemon off on jobs to earn experience and items for you.
That's dope. They should add that in Pokemon Go. That'd be sweet.
That would be kind of cool. Earn some candies that way.
That or Pokeballs or anything.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Something else in the news, Outer Worlds. Have either of you guys seen that game?
I have not.
It's made by Obsidian. They're the ones that made Fallout New Vegas, if any of you have heard or played of that. Kind of looks cool. It's a little bit more sci-fi-y, a lot more like bright colors and everything. Basically, they travel off to faraway planets. They're taken over by big corporations, and that's kind of all we know about the story at the moment.
Is it like a No Man's Sky type?
It looks like No Man's Sky and Fallout had a baby, I guess. Cool. You could say that. But they announced that is coming to the Nintendo Switch. That'll be shortly after its release in October. Obsidian is owned by Microsoft now, and that game will be coming to Game Pass day one when it releases, so that'll be kind of cool. Something else, Sony, Microsoft, and the Nintendo are going to require any game that includes loot boxes to show the odds of certain items before customers purchase said loot box. So it's going to say you have a 2 or 3% chance of gaining this legendary item or whatever. And if they do not comply, they will not be able to have their games on those systems anymore. So watch out, EA, and we will see what happens with some of their games. And you had a little bit about the new Call of Duty game.
Yes, guys. Modern Warfare reboot is here. I don't think Modern Warfare 2 is going to be remastered for this game. Sorry for you guys that wanted that. The night mode looks awesome. It's completely dark. You can see about 2 to 3 feet in front of you without night vision. And all the aiming is done with a laser. And those lasers can be seen by enemies. And on the video, it looked like you could really pinpoint where people are according to those lasers, so that's cool. Crossplay will be added. I believe they're going to be playing. Everybody can play together.
At launch, even?
Yeah, I believe so. They haven't really released too much on it. Do you have anything to add on that?
Not really. Other than they said that they're going to have dedicated servers on every platform.
What is that? What does dedicated servers mean?
And basically, that means that they have servers set aside specifically for that game so that it can connect players better and reduce lag during matches. So in other games, you are responsible as a host. Somebody is responsible for a host, and so their main internet connection connects to the server, and they produce the latency and everything.
Okay. That'd be nice, because I played Black Ops 4 this morning and got kicked out of like 4 games right off the bat. It was ridiculous.
So that'll be good to help reduce some of those issues and some of the lag. And Firemouth, you said that you're a little older. Did you ever have a Tamagotchi?
No, I didn't have one, but I got one from my brother.
Okay. So you kind of know what they are.
I know what they are.
So give us a 1-sentence synopsis about what a Tamagotchi is.
Like a little video game character you take care of and feed and take care of, and if it doesn't get taken care of, it dies.
Nailed it.
So what if I told you that you can have a Tamagotchi, and to feed it, you have to kill people in multiplayer?
That sounds fun.
And it does project on a watch, right? In game?
Yeah.
You can look at it whenever.
So it's completely optional if you want it. It's called a Tamagotchi. And basically you have to play multiplayer and get kills to feed it, or else it'll rot and die, is the quote.
Tamagotchi, I get it. It's a pun. That's so funny.
Let's move into what we've been playing this week. Firemouth, what have you been playing lately?
Mostly the Division 2.
How is that?
I like it.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people talk a lot of shit on Division 1, so I never bought it.
The first one is you kind of either love it or you hate it, or you love to hate it.
But I love Tom Clancy games.
Yeah.
So I wanted it so bad.
I have so many, like, I would probably say 85% of my games are Ubisoft games.
I'm completely the same.
And most of them are because they're Tom Clancy games.
That's, yeah, same.
So.
I tried the free demo for the Division, and the third person style just kind of threw me off.
That's what I didn't like about it, was the third person.
But you got big into Division 1, right?
Yeah. When I first got my first Xbox One had, it was like the Division package.
Okay.
And so it came with it. And so, yeah, I just kind of got into it. And yeah. Second one's a lot better. Story mode's a little more fleshed out in the first one.
I've been hearing a lot of good things. They basically ended right off where Division 1 was, as far as the dark zone or the open world aspect or whatever it's called in that game. So I've been hearing really good things about the second one.
And I think that they're doing a lot of cool stuff too, because they're offering a lot of free updates and free things. I've got the year 1 pass, but I think all that really does is it gets me in on that a little earlier, but then there's stuff that will also trickle over to other people that don't have the year 1 pass. So
that's cool. Anything else you're playing?
Red Dead 2 a little bit.
Ooh,
I still haven't finished that.
I've been too busy to buy that game, but I am waiting for life to calm down.
I'm not gonna lie. There's just something that's relaxing, like riding around on a horse and talking to your buddies. It's just kind of fun. And the Division's kind of a completely different monster to that, but it's fun.
Are you doing the online at all?
Yeah,
No, just story mode.
Yep, just story mode.
My buddies wanted me to download that online part just so we could lasso somebody and just drag them around.
My coworker, I just found out that he bought it, and he was telling me, because the controllers are kind of hinky, especially if you're going from one game to another. But he's
weird.
yeah, I'm trying to buy something and I shoot some guy in the face. I'm like, yeah, that's basically the learning curve that you get for playing that game. But yeah, it's fun.
The last time I turned that on, I was tying my horse up. I don't know what the hell happened, but my guy just shot up in the air and it landed right back on the horse. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a video game, but
yeah, I've not touched it at all. I played a little bit of Red Dead 1, but I've just heard it's a time sink, and I just haven't had the time for it.
It is definitely a time sink.
Anything else you're playing, or is that about it?
That's about it. All right. I'm so busy.
We all kind of are. So I kind of focused on 3 games this week. I've been playing Morphe's Law on the Nintendo Switch. This game's kind of cool. It's a third-person team-based shooter, and basically it's just like team deathmatch and everything. But kind of the gimmick of the game is every time you shoot an enemy, wherever you hit them, that part of their body gets smaller and yours gets bigger. So if I were to shoot you in the head, your head would get really, really small and my head would get really, really big. And different body parts do different things. Like if you get bigger legs, you can run fast or jump higher. If you get bigger feet, you can run faster. If you get a bigger butt, you can butt rocket longer. It's kind of crazy. And it's based off of Mexican piñatas type of thing. That's the art style of the game. So it's kind of cool in that sense. But it came out a long time ago, and when it first came out, there was so much lag. The game was almost unplayable. So a bunch of people, or everybody fell off. You couldn't get into a game. But just recently, they released their 2.0 update, which refixed everything, added a few game modes, a few more maps, and it's running a lot better, and there's a lot more people playing now. So kind of got back into that. I also picked up Metro Exodus as a part of Game Pass. And do either of you know what this game is?
No.
I actually downloaded the same game on PlayStation, I believe.
So it's based on the book Metro 2035 or something like that.
It's a first-person shooter, right?
First-person shooter.
Yeah.
Basically, the world got nuked. So the entire population got knocked out except for 50,000 people. And it's a bad game.
Yeah,
it is not a good game. There were several occasions where you would just the bad guys would clip through like the geometry or some of the cover and stuff, and then all of a sudden they would just appear on the other side of the map and shoot you, and you die so quickly. And like you have an AI partner that kind of follows you around sometimes, and they just shove you across the map. So you're sitting there in cover trying to win this firefight, and all of a sudden your AI partner comes and just starts pushing you out of the thing. It is ridiculous. I also had several cases where I'd shoot an enemy point blank, aim right at them. I actually saved some videos and I'll put it on our Instagram. But you shoot them and nothing happened, and they just turn around and blast you in the head, one shot.
I noticed when I played it like the first level, that you had like no ammo.
Yeah.
And like it was so hard to come by because it's just ridiculous. Like I was always just one mag out of each gun. You can never find any.
Have you guys ever played Metro First Light?
No, I have not.
Because it was one of those free Xbox games of the month, and I downloaded it. Just want to know if that was.
It's based on. I know it's based on that, or I don't know if it's like a prequel or a sequel or anything. I was gonna say. But did you play that one?
I played like the first. I don't know. It wasn't speaking to me. It was nice. It wasn't a bad game, but like it just.
So it wasn't as bad as this one?
No,
because this one was terrible. I turned it off because I just couldn't. I was getting sick and tired of getting shoved everywhere and the bad guys clipping through stuff. It was ridiculous. And it didn't look good, and it was just hard to see everything. Like it was just so dirty, and like you're wearing this mask that's cracked. And I get that's part of the art style, but it was just bad. I won't be going back to that one. And the other game that I was playing was Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. I'll just kind of touch on some things because we'll talk about this later, but I thought it had tight controls and it felt like a Call of Duty. I also kind of felt like it was just a bad version of Titanfall. I felt like you had magic powers as opposed to having a jetpack. I felt like you were just a little too floaty for having rocket boosters strapped to your butt. And I also didn't like the fact that it was like, here is where you can wall run, and this is the only place that you can wall run. And I felt like in like Titanfall, for example, wall running is like the main thing, but you can kind of do that anywhere. And I felt like in this game, it was just like, here's a big yellow bar, and that's where you can run.
Black Ops 3 did really well with their wall run, even though I still didn't like it. We'll hit on that.
Okay.
You could wall run like deadhouse on anything you wanted.
See, that would probably make it feel a little better. But yeah, I was unimpressed. Let's just say that.
Cool. So I've been playing a lot of Rainbow.
Rainbow Six?
Yep. I've been playing as Mozzie on defense. His gadget is a little spider drone that captures the enemy drone and lets you use it as a defender, which is actually very tactical, especially if you hit all three. You can really put those in a position to be advantage. And then a lot of For Honor. New character came out. I forgot her name. She claps my cheeks every time I go against her. She has a stupid ability where she throws her hammer at you, and all your stamina is drained. It's ridiculous. And then a lot of Battlefield 5.
Really? You're still on that one?
I'm still on that one. For some reason, nobody plays Team Deathmatch no more, so I wasn't able to find one Team Deathmatch game.
What is everybody playing?
They've been playing Conquest, which basically is a domination of the 5 flags you have to capture. It's about a 30-minute long. I believe there's 30 people on each team, 30-something people. It's pretty fun. I was not doing well. For some reason, I couldn't hit past a 60-meter sniper shot all week, so that was cool. And I've been upgrading my medic class quite a bit. Getting all those new weapons. I still go back to the first gun they give you because it definitely tops all, and it is the Sten. We'll get a lot. We'll get into that weapon a lot in this podcast here. So,
all right. Well,
what I've been doing.
Our topic for the week is going to be the Call of Duty franchise in preparation for the new Modern Warfare game. That's kind of why we brought Firemouth in, because I know that he kept up with a lot of, at least the multiplayer in a lot of the Call of Duty games. Why doesn't everybody go around and say what game they started with in the Call of Duty franchise?
I started playing multiplayer in World at War. Call of Duty World at War.
Was that the first one you played?
The first one I did multiplayer in.
Okay.
And then Call of Duty, the big red one, which I believe was Call of Duty 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I played Call of Duty 1 briefly. And then I really got into it with Modern Warfare.
All right. I didn't know this, but doing the research for this episode, I played all of Call of Duty 1. And I don't know where, because it was not on a console. It was only on PC. I've never had a gaming PC, so I have no idea where I played this game. But looking up all of this stuff, and I'm looking up like gameplay videos, I'm like, I remember this exactly. So either I really watched somebody play this when I was a kid, or I played Call of Duty 1, which is crazy.
I did not know it was only on PC.
Yeah.
I thought it was on an Xbox. I thought it started out Xbox.
It was only on PC. Call of Duty 2 was the first one that got brought over to consoles.
I skipped that entirely researching that. I didn't see that at all anywhere.
I thought it was interesting.
I had played Call of Duty 2. But I don't remember playing it nearly as much as I played like Modern Warfare and on.
Yeah.
Did you play Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you were either a Call of Duty fan or a Medal of Honor fan, and we kind of know where that battle went.
I actually really liked Medal of Honor.
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
I feel like it was more of an authentic game.
Yeah, I think that's where I also feel like at a certain point, everybody just got... It was just overkill. Like World War II overkill.
Yeah.
And it was just like, we're done.
I mean, there's 7 Call of Duties that are in place in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's just kind of get into that. The first game basically takes place entirely over D-Day. You're playing as an American and a British guy on June 6th at different points in the world, basically. And so, yeah, right there's World War II starting off, D-Day. You also play as a Soviet, based a little bit after on September 18th. But what's cool about the Soviet campaign, each of these is based upon like 8 different missions, basically. And the end of the Soviet one, you actually storm Richenstag Bridge and raise the victory banner, ending the war. So I think they were kind of anticipating Call of Duty to be like a one and done type of game,
right?
Because you play D-Day and then you end the war and that's it. But everything kind of gets a little bit more in depth in Call of Duty 2, and this is this I thought was my first one, because I remember playing the heck out of this and using. I was never like a machine gun guy. I was always just
bolt action
rifles. Yeah,
I was the same way.
I felt like it just felt better in those ones. I did not feel like the machine guns and stuff felt good in at least the first couple Call of Duty games.
Call of Duty 2 was developed by Infinity Ward. Came out October 25th of 2005. It's the first console version, apparently.
And only on Xbox 360.
Yeah. And you play as 4 soldiers through this story. So one more than number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You play a British one again, American, and Russian. 2 British soldiers actually in this one, I believe.
Yeah, 2 British and 2 Russian, right?
Yes. No, just 2 British, 1 American, 1 Russian.
Okay.
And you're playing as Sergeant John Davis, as the Great Britain soldier. He carries out missions to take out German enemies, leads to the destruction of a supply base. The same unit also fights through lots of trench warfare while taking out gunner nests and fighting through all that. And then American soldier, you play as Corporal Bill Taylor. He's a ranger. And that his campaign starts out in D-Day on Normandy.
That's interesting that they went from Call of Duty 1 almost entirely based on D-Day and then put you right back into it. I wish I remembered the campaign of both of those a little better, because I'm curious how similar the levels were.
Yeah.
If they're both based during D-Day.
I don't think I ever played Call of Duty 1, so I wouldn't be able to compare it.
I didn't think I did either.
You remember this one at all? Anything you want to add so far?
I don't remember.
This was the first one to implement regeneration of health and grenade indicators. In the first game, if a grenade got thrown by you, it did not warn you that there was one. And that led a lot to some incidental deaths. And this is also the first time that multiplayer was introduced. Was not online. It was just local only. It included deathmatch, team deathmatch, search and destroy, which is your favorite game mode.
It is. Love
Capture the flag, and headquarters. And just continuing on, they added online gameplay into the third Call of Duty. So this is kind of where I would consider Call of Duty 3 to be the first modern Call of Duty game, because now we've got a little bit of steam behind them with the first two games. This is also the first one to be released on all platforms available at the time, and it is also the one that added, like I said, online gameplay. So this is the first time you're able to play against other people and really get introduced to some of that stuff.
Call of Duty 3 was also the first one developed by Treyarch. So the two previous ones were Infinity Ward.
And is this when they started switching off every year?
Yep, this is when they started switching off. Then that time, Call of Duty 3 story was still in World War II. And you follow the new soul. You used to follow American. And they added Canadian and Polish soldiers that you followed. And yeah, you can throw live grenades back. So that was a pretty big add-on to that.
And you can also pick up and replenish your ammo from your fallen enemies. That's something that was introduced in this one too. Like I said, I feel like that's kind of where Call of Duty kind of started, as far as most people are aware of. And it led into arguably the best game so far in the series, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And you said that this is your first one, Firemouth, right?
Yeah, the first main one. I mean, I played the story and I played the multiplayer, so I would definitely say it's
up there on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one won a lot of awards. It won IGN's Best Xbox 360 Game Award. It was the top-selling game worldwide in 2007, the year that it was released. It sold 7 million copies by January of the following year.
It's crazy. That's 2 million more than each 3 Call of Duty about.
Yeah, in just 2 months, basically.
Yeah.
It was the first Call of Duty game to be rated M. And kind of the events of the story are kind of cool. It takes place in 2011. There's a radical leader from an unknown country in the Middle East who ends up killing the president and setting off World War III. And that's where the Modern Warfare series takes place, is kind of feeding off of this. You play as U.S. Force Resistance Marine in the perspective where the president is murdered, and then as a British SAS commando in the Russian Civil War. Because there is a movement in Russia that kind of ignites a civil war, so you're playing both of these sides.
So you got World War III going on, and then Russia, they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you remember much of the story?
Oh. No.
I
don't. I remember some of the ghillie suits and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is like the first Call of Duty to really implement how much fun it is to be a sniper in the game.
Yeah, there's that one where I'm guessing it's Russia, where you're sneaking through like the building and you're following some other guy, and like there's radioactivity everywhere. Unless I'm thinking of another Call of Duty game.
I think it was this one.
I'm pretty sure it's this one.
This is I thought it was really cool implementing like the night vision in this game, and like the infrared artillery in those planes. Mm-hmm. You'd get the heavy guns and everything. But yeah, I thought this one was really cool, and like I said, a lot of people consider this the best of the game, this series so far.
Was this the first one to implement kill streak rewards?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. You weren't able to customize them, but there was kill streak.
Yeah, it was the same for everybody.
Yeah, it's like No.
Wasn't it?
Call of Duty 3. No, I'm wrong. That's in World at War. Sorry. We'll continue on. I couldn't remember. This one, I think you end with the nuke. I think this is when they started introducing the nuke.
No, the nuke came in Modern Warfare 2. I believe. I don't remember. Nuke came in definitely Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the kill streaks are all the same for everybody. You can't pick your favorites or whatever.
I know that's true for sure, and I could have sworn.
I played the remastered version of this, and I've never seen a nuke, so I'm pretty sure there wasn't one in there.
Maybe you're just not good enough.
Was it down? Doesn't mean me being good enough. I mean, I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I don't think I ever got a nuke in the other one. I was so ass at Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, I never did.
I got nuked a lot.
Yeah, same.
But I never got the nuke.
You were the guy providing the
I was
nukes.
always the guy that was like, hey, I'm going to get that guy so he doesn't nuke us. That was my thing.
We got to kill that guy one time.
Just once.
Because there's no way he's getting 50 kills.
Oh, that's funny.
25 kills he had to get for a nuke, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
Then they went back to World War II. In 2008, they released World at War. It was the first Call of Duty game to be rated 18 plus by PEGI.
What is PEGI?
Who is Peggy?
Who is PEGI?
Isn't PEGI like the British rating system?
It might be.
We will look that up real quick.
This is also the first Call of Duty to implement Nazi zombies. So that's cool.
That's what the game is pretty much famous for.
Yeah. Nobody remembers it for anything else. I honestly don't remember.
The story mode was kind of like, multiplayer was okay. But
this is when they introduced the attack dogs.
Yep.
As the kill streak. That's what I was thinking of. And I remember being scared out of my mind when somebody would release those attack dogs.
The attack dogs was the one thing you could defend against.
But I was like, when was this released?
2008.
I was like 9.
Yeah.
I said I was old. I was married by the time this came out.
I was a little older than 9. I was 12.
Yeah, you like knife the dog.
It was easy. It was easy to knife the dog in that game.
I remember being scared. Anyway, back to PEGI. PEGI is the Pan-European Game Information, so it is the rating system for Europe.
The story mode, it focuses on the Pacific and Eastern Front of World War II. Yeah. And it's based on several historic events. You play as C. Miller, a Marine. He is also a private. You play as a Navy petty officer. What is that, Locke? I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah, Locke. Officer Locke.
And then Private Dmitri, I don't know how to say his last name. Petrenko of the Red Army.
I felt this is when Call of Duty took a real dark turn. Do you guys remember this one at all?
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
I remember like the flamethrowers.
Yeah, I thought the flamethrower was awesome, and they implemented like the flamethrowers onto the tanks. Mm-hmm. And this is also the one where
it's the first one to like if you hit somebody with a grenade, it would blow their body parts off. Yeah.
And
I forget what they call that.
I believe this is the first one that implemented the censoring system, so you could actually go into the settings and censor, the blood and the gore and some of the language and stuff. And if you watch the cutscenes are a lot of them are based off of real war pictures and stuff, and it's pretty gruesome.
They're all black and white.
Yeah. This is also the first appearance of Viktor Reznov, who plays a big role in some of the Black Ops games that we'll talk about a little later. And you guys kind of touched on the zombie mode a little bit while I was looking that up.
Yep. The DLC for zombies in that particular game was awesome.
Yeah, so I doing some research, they implemented zombies as just like a post-game thing and totally took a risk on it, and were like, wouldn't it be funny if we just put this into the game? So they put in the that bunker level with all the fog and everything, and I remember first getting to that, and again, back to the attack dogs and me being 12 and a scaredy cat, I was terrified. But it was so popular and popped up everywhere online so much that's why they made the DLC for it, and they went crazy with some of those maps.
Oh yeah,
comparing it to the first one,
and all the things you can do now, they focus more on their Easter eggs for their zombies than they do storyline.
Yeah. Some of that stuff is so overly complicated.
Oh,
I was
just like, wow.
I was looking at adding some in-depth zombie story to this podcast. and after about 30 seconds of looking at it, I was like, "There's no way I can't do this." And they have like backstory going back to like knights and medieval times for this.
It's
And,
wild.
yeah, so they end up putting something on the moon when they're in medieval time. I don't know how this happens. It's ridiculous. And split timelines.
Right.
It is, holy cow. I'm glad we're just going to stick with the mainline games, because that is some bonkers stuff.
Future episode, we'll focus on zombies, maybe. That's a lot.
I know I just graduated from school, but dude, that's a lot of studying.
That's a lot. This was a lot of studying.
Yeah.
This was a lot.
That's true. Next game. Modern Warfare 2 came out on November 10th, 2009. Sold over 22.7 million copies. Started a comic book series titled Modern Warfare 2 Ghosts, which I believe was the inspiration for Ghosts later on.
I didn't even know that they started a comic book until I was researching. No, I didn't know that at all.
I believe that's why they made Ghosts and where a lot of the story came from for that.
Ghosts got a lot of hate, but I actually kind of liked that game.
Well, it bricked my Xbox for one. So
fried
I
his
had to get a
Xbox.
whole new Xbox because of that game.
22.7, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is a big step up from 5 million.
And this is where I feel like a lot of people started doing, and I don't know if it's just Xbox Live and stuff kind of was more common, but this is where multiplayer really took off.
Oh,
for
yeah.
them.
This is the birth of online gaming now.
Yeah.
A little gem for Modern Warfare 2 is co-op mode too. Like
yes,
like the little
Spec
side
Ops.
missions
Yeah.
where you can play with your buddy, like split screen. Like I loved doing those too. Like my brother and I would just play those for hours.
Trying to get 3 stars.
Right.
Just trying to get 3 stars.
I remember some of those, and I thought it was cool because like you could do like the snowmobile.
Snowmobile is like
Yeah.
my favorite. Yeah.
And the one that I remember the most is going through that frozen jungle, or not frozen jungle, the forest. And
Yeah.
Sneaking around.
Yeah, you had to sneak around. That was so hard for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, if you got caught, there's good luck finishing the rest of the level.
Yeah,
You know,
that was
Was
fun, though.
this one that had the? Oh, maybe I'm not thinking about the right one, but like there's like a diner, and you had to hold it out or something like that.
Are you talking about where like the tanks are driving around
Yeah.
in the streets? I
Was
think
it
that
this
was
one?
the third one.
Was it the third one?
I
Okay.
think that was the third one.
But yeah, it still goes back to that same like co-op, like
Mhm.
just yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Modern Warfare 2 was one of my personal favorites. And I actually played competitive Call of Duty for a little while. And this is the game that started it for me.
I was ass at this game.
I went to like just like local events and stuff, and I was decent at this one. I was able to kind of hold my own. I didn't win any like prize money or anything with this one, but this is kind of where my competitive Call of Duty came in, and I'll talk about it in some of the other games. I got really into competitive Call of Duty for a little bit.
Back to Modern Warfare 2, they had a level where
Oh yes.
you were undercover. I believe you were with the Russians, and you terrorized airport, and they got a lot of hate for that. A lot.
I remember when that I didn't.
They
really,
let you opt out. They asked you if you wanted to play this.
as much hate as it got. I was now a little bit older than I was then, but I don't remember it
I was
resonating
11.
with me very much.
No, neither did I.
As young as I was, I don't remember it
11.
being like, "Oh, this is bad" or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember playing that level
12.
at all?
The airport level?
Yeah. Did it make you uneasy or
No.
anything?
I
No.
like shooting people.
You just thought of it as a video game?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I thought it was. I guess if I would have had a little bit older, it maybe would have been a little bit harder.
I think
but
it's more or less like the game's trying to put you in a situation where, like, logistically, if you were in that position, like, would you morally be able to do that to keep your cover? And
It was definitely a fielder level. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, are you willing to go
Right.
through with anything to stay undercover?
yeah. Well, and like you were saying, they give you the option to opt out, but they also gave you the option where you didn't have to fire a single shot.
That is true.
Yeah, I
Your
walked.
AI would kill everybody for you, and you could just walk through it.
Yeah.
And regardless of what you pick, your character still dies at the end of that mission. And isn't this one where they kind of put that big spin where General Shepard is the bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So right at the end of the game.
This is where your character, Soap, is killed along with Ghost, right?
I don't exactly remember.
Sure, sounds familiar.
I think this is the end of this one ends with you and Ghost. So you're playing as General or Sergeant Soap.
And I believe you throw a knife into Shepard's face.
No, that's the end of the third game.
That's the end of the third one.
It was sad when they all meshed together like that.
Yeah. So the ending of this game, you find out basically you kind of do that fight on the estate on top of the hill, or whatever, and you get picked up in a helicopter by General Shepard. Well, General Shepard then shoots Ghost, and then turns around and shoots you because you're getting in the helicopter first, and then turns around and shoots Ghost. And you guys aren't dead yet, and then they pour gasoline on top of you and light you on fire. And that's basically how this game ends.
I do remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that because I loved Ghost as a character, and I remember that resonating more with me than the airport terrorist level as bad as
made everybody in the sad feels when that happened.
Yeah. Anyway, I added this one because I want to touch on it a little bit. Call of Duty Zombies Mobile came out in November of 2009, just shortly after Modern Warfare 2. Did either of you have experience with this one?
Nope, but I did talk to one of my buddies about it, and he played it on his iPod. And he just said it was your basic first-person shooter on a phone, not very good controls. I mean, it's a phone, so...
Well, yeah. This is also like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was also 10 years ago, yeah.
So, yeah, it was not fantastic, but I remember me and my buddies sitting at lunch playing that because you had local co-op on it, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun being able to sit there at high school just playing this on your phone and everything, and I thought it was cool. It was traditional zombies gameplay, used the same maps with all the DLC as World at War did, and it also added the ability for you to be able to play online, so you could matchmake in. The matchmaking was horrible. Local co-op was definitely the way to go with that one. But I thought it was cool. I had a lot of fun with that one.
Ooh, Black Ops. My favorite series. Released November 9th of 2010. Developed by Treyarch. Campaign was set in 1960s. It's about the Cold War era. You play as CIA op Alex Mason and James Hudson of the Red Army and Victor Reznov. It takes place in Cuba, Russia, Vietnam, China, Hong Kong. 14 maps, multiplayer.
That's the most they released with,
right?
Up to this point.
Mm-hmm. Within 24 hours, it sold 4.2 million copies. That's about as much as the first 3 Call of Duties did in their first year being out, which is insane. $1 billion over the first 6 weeks.
That's crazy, especially for that time. I feel like that's a lot.
It's a crazy amount of money.
Also, the introduction of Nuketown.
Oh,
yes.
Nuketown.
I have mixed feelings.
It was DLC for that, wasn't it?
No,
it was
in the base
game.
It
was in the base.
Yeah. I hated Nuketown. Mostly because back then I was not very good at running and gunning, and that is where I would always get kicked out on the free-for-all in the competitive games, is that map, because it was so small and such tight corners, and I just could not, for the life of me, do the submachine gun gameplay. It was just, or the shotgun. It was just too much.
Yeah, submachine gun, they've been dominating multiplayer games for a long time. Not a lot of people run Assault, especially in Call of Duty.
We kind of like jumped the gun a little bit. What game modes were you playing the most in most of the Call of Duties?
Search and Destroy for me.
Domination was my main game.
Yeah, I played Domination most of the time.
In Modern Warfare 3 introduced the Kill Confirmed, the dog tag one, and I really enjoyed that one. Not a lot of people did, but that was one of my favorites.
It was a good game mode to get high amount of kills. Mm-hmm. Same with Domination.
I think Search and Destroy for me, it wasn't fast paced enough compared to Domination. I got bored, and then like once you get killed the first time, you just have to like wait. Mm-hmm. And so Domination, it was just, I don't know, having a if you get a good team together and you can plan it and you all kind of split up, like Domination was like really fun.
Yeah, I thought Domination was a lot more team strategic because if you could get everybody on mics and everything, you can really, lock down those first two flags, and you've basically got the game set once you can do that.
Another thing about Black Ops, did you guys ever play the Easter eggs?
I did in the zombies.
I touched on them a little bit, but not
so
a lot.
Like in the very beginning of like the menu where you can break free of your shackles and you go over to the computer.
You can unlock 5.
You can unlock Zork.
Oh, was that the story?
That's the text-based video game. So like you know how old I am? You want to talk about how old I am? That was on my first computer as a kid. I used to play Zork like crazy.
I didn't know that was a real game.
Yeah. Okay, so
I didn't know it was a real game.
Did you know you can plug a keyboard into your Xbox and you can play Zork and type?
Hell yeah.
Like it's a regular computer. So my brother was over one time and we were just playing all night, playing that game. And with the keyboard plugged into my Xbox 360. Like,
is there an ending to that?
I don't remember.
Because I remember being weird, but I was like, what the hell is this? And we were like, go left, go right, and like, you're here now. What do you do? I was like, what?
And it's all text-based. You're like, pick up knife, use knife. Like, it's crazy.
Really cool. They added that.
I never touched that one, but I did do the top-down zombie mode that they added in that one.
That Ops Arcade.
Yeah. That was cool. The arcade version of zombies. I had a lot of fun with that one. Into the story mode, like I was saying, this is where Viktor Reznov comes back. And you play the story, and he plays a really big role as Mason is getting interrogated because he's telling the story, and Viktor is there with him the whole time, kind of helping him, killing the guys, and everything. And eventually you find out that Viktor Reznov was a figment of his imagination. Because what happened is when Alex was captured, he was being tortured and basically programmed to be a sleeper agent for the Russians so that they could release the number sequence. That's what the "where's the numbers, Mason" comes from. And that would kind of turn him. But when he was getting brainwashed, Reznov came through and kind of did his own version of the brainwash, so that he would go after and kill the guy that killed his friend.
Cool story.
Yeah, I thought Black Ops was really cool.
I think the thing I liked about Black Ops 2 was it wasn't quite like going back to World War II, but you still had the older guns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, yeah, it was a lot. It just had more of a real feel to it.
I liked how some of the upgrades were kind of just thrown together.
Right.
So remember the double clip or the fast reload, and
whereas,
it was just two clips tied and taped together. I thought that was cool. And the grenade launcher was also just duct taped to the end of your gun and stuff. That was cool stuff. I really enjoyed that one.
$400 million. Black Ops 1 gross. Or no, that was wrong. I read that wrong.
Moving on to Modern Warfare 3.
Yep.
This is my favorite Call of Duty game. By far.
This is your favorite one?
Yep. Modern Warfare 3. This is the one that I played the most. This is the first one that I won some prize money in competitive. I won it in a free-for-all match, and all I used was a scout rifle. That was all I used in that match, and it was awesome.
This was the first one to be developed by 2 different developers.
Yep, they brought in Sledgehammer, and it grossed over $400 million.
Crazy. Best Shooter Award at Spike Video Game Awards.
And
new kill streaks.
What were the new kill streaks?
I believe the new kill streaks. So you had your regular kill streaks where you had to go so many kills without dying. Well, this one you can get points doing assists. They added assists to be able to count towards your kill streaks. And then they did a support kill streaks where you just had to reach a certain amount of points regardless if you died or not. They were still super useful. I remember playing 2v2s and one of us would roll with the
support stuff.
And one of us would roll with the other. So
those weren't ever very big, but it was UAV and counter UAV and
I did the support most of the time because I was playing Domination.
Mm-hmm.
And so you die a lot.
Yeah.
Trying to capture points. And so yeah, I'd usually do the support.
The big one about support was you could get I don't remember how many care packages it would drop, but it was a support.
I think it was 6.
Yeah,
If
you
I
dropped
remember
6,
right,
so
it
that was
grew.
like 6 things that you can get off of support. Like, that's insane.
You had to be good, though.
Yeah, you had to get like, I don't remember how many points it was, but it was a lot.
Yeah, and I
probably
think
20 kills
the way
worth.
the point system worked is the more people you killed without dying, the more points you got.
Yeah.
And so if you were the type of person that would die a lot, your points wouldn't be worth very much, even if you got a high amount of kills.
Mm-hmm. You'd get like a multiplier kind of
Go
thing.
back and play this game now.
Yeah, it was a good
It's
game.
been a long time.
I really enjoyed
they-
this one. This is the one that had that level where you kind of hide out in the diner and whatever, and the tanks are driving through the streets.
They made this
Takes a
backwards
lot.
compatible, right? For
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
One?
I think they released this one with a copy of Modern Warfare as well. They bundled those together. But what I really liked about this one is a lot of it was more urban kind of fighting, and you eventually ended up in a city after a nuke went off in the air. It EMP'd everything. I remember playing that, and you're playing with a red dot sight, and all of a sudden your red dot's gone.
Yeah.
But you played through a lot of American like suburbs type of thing, going through buildings and driving the tanks around and stuff. This is also when they ended the World War III, basically. They end it in this game, and it continues on the story of Shepard being the bad guy. And in the end of this game, you play as Price, I believe, is his name.
Captain Price, yep.
Yep. And the last level is you chasing Shepard down in a boat, and this is where you go off the waterfall, and you land and you get washed up, and then the ending is on the map Rust, which a lot of people think is one of the best maps in Call of Duty 2, if you remember that one at all.
I do.
But this is the one where you throw the knife into his eye.
Okay.
Because you get shot
That's
or
right.
stabbed or something, and you're down on the ground bleeding out, and then Price comes through and is fighting and kicking him and everything, and you pull the knife out of that's right, you get stabbed, you pull the knife out of your chest, and then you throw it, and you stab him right in the eye. I thought that was a really cool way to end the game.
Yep.
And I can't remember if you had to do something or if it was just after the credits, but you got to go around through the trophy room. And they had it was supposed to be like wax figures of some of the bad guys and good guys and some of the key scenes. Did you guys do this at all?
No.
Okay, so there's this trophy room, and it has all these guns and different scenes kind of taken out of the campaign or whatever. And they have the wax figure people. They're not wax figure. You can shoot them and kill them. And if you shoot them and kill them, they all turn on you. And so all of a sudden it just turns into this huge thing. And I remember just picking up the right shield because that thing was indestructible. And you could back into the corner, and all of the guys would be coming to try and attack you, and you just ram them with your shield. I remember playing hours just in that little museum. And I don't even understand why I did it. It was just a lot of fun.
That was a good game.
That was a good game. That was my favorite one by far. I really enjoyed that one.
On to Black Ops 2.
November
November 2012.
Yep.
My favorite Call of Duty.
What made this one your favorite?
Dude, this is the one that I was finally super good at. Like, the story was cool. I liked how it went back and forth on the story. So you were playing as Mason's son, and Woods was telling you stories. You guys were chasing down the same guy. What the hell is his name? Raul Menendez. And you were hunting him down in 2025, but Mason and Woods were hunting him down back in the 80s. And it's cool.
I did not play all of the campaign in Black Ops 2. This is when I started focusing solely on multiplayer.
Okay.
Because this is when I was doing a lot of the competitive, and I didn't really touch the campaigns after this.
In the campaign, I remember one mission you were in Hong Kong, and you're playing as Woods at the time, and he's telling the story to Mason's son. And you're trying to shoot this guy that they have a hood on him, and you can't see who it is. So you shoot him, you snipe him in the head, and they pull the bag off, and it ends up being Mason.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Woods shoots Mason.
Yeah.
The funny thing about once you finish the story, there's a weird like Avenged Sevenfold cameo, and Woods is in a wheelchair the whole time telling the story. He just gets up out of the wheelchair and he's like, "Yeah, that thing. I'm just fucking lazy. I didn't need the wheelchair." It's so funny. It made me laugh. It's the first Call of Duty to add a weapon in their DLC, and it was the Peacekeeper. It was a submachine gun.
Really?
Yeah. I loved that gun.
Oh, I do remember that Peacekeeper.
Yep. $500 million within 24 hours. Crazy.
I remember playing a lot of the zombies on this one too.
Same.
This is the one where they had the lighthouse based off of the movies. You played as movie characters.
Oh, yeah.
You played as like Machete, I think, and it was one of the characters you could play as.
Horror movie one?
Yeah. So you're at the lighthouse place, and there was a bunch of different maps. This is also where they introduced
Alcatraz.
Yeah, Alcatraz and like a jungle Shanghai or something like that. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but that one was pretty cool too. This is when they got crazy with some of those
zombies. Yeah.
Was it the first one where you're playing as the president?
Yeah, in the Pentagon.
Yeah, that's the one you had to unlock getting out of the chair. You were JFK.
Yeah, I remember that one. In this one, they introduced the moon, and we kind of talked about this in the last episode. This is where the pyramid is there, and goes back to like what the original people back in medieval times were doing or whatever. And you had to shoot the zombies to fill up the pyramid, and then the evil girl came and took over the Russian guy, and you end up nuking Earth. So it was weird stuff in that one. And moving on to Call of Duty Ghosts. This was in 2013. Like I said, this one bricked my Xbox One. This was the first game that I got with my day one Xbox One. And I put in the disc one day.
It nuked your Xbox One?
It nuked my Xbox One.
Oh
I put
my
the disc
gosh.
in, and all of a sudden my entire screen went black, and I couldn't do anything. I tried hard resetting it. I tried everything. And I took it into Best Buy, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that happens a lot with this game for some reason." So I don't know what it was about it, but it did end up nuking my Xbox.
I was still rocking the 360 with Ghosts.
I also was rocking the 360 with Ghosts.
And getting into that, this one they bridged the generation gap doing the PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and Xbox One versions of the game. How was the 360 version?
Did not nuke the game system.
Did not red ring my Xbox.
I still have my Xbox 360.
I remember I was so mad when that happened. I was getting ready to play. I was like so close to prestiging, and it seriously pissed me off so much. I took my Xbox, swapped out Ghost for Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and that was the game that I played forever because there were no games on the Xbox.
You know what's so
when
funny?
it came out.
Talking about prestiging, I was like, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Which game did they start that on?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
So, it must have been that one where I didn't prestige out of the spite. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time prestiging.
I don't really do it anymore.
Well, it's like why go all the way back
through everything?
The only cool thing you really get is the camos,
right?
Because in a lot of them, that's how you got like the gold camo.
They mocked you in Modern Warfare 2 if you backed out. They'd make chicken noises. If you're like prestige and you had to click yes or no, and then if you click no, it's like
I didn't remember that.
I didn't remember that. That's hilarious. Yeah. I prestiged a little bit here and there, but I think in the first one I didn't the whole entire time. And I was like, why?
Black Ops 2 was the only one I hit Master Prestige in.
I will say, seeing somebody with like Prestige level 5 tag on their thing was like, holy crap, this guy's got to be good. And
holy crap, this guy has a lot of time on his hands.
That too. But I also feel like that guy just wrecked everybody every match. In this one, you play as Logan Walker. Timeline is near future, but follows the nuclear destruction of the Middle East. You play as in the Ghost Unit, which is a U.S. Special Operations personnel, and it is the first Call of Duty to let you control the attack dog Riley, and that is also the first time a non-humanoid character is playable in a Call of Duty game.
first Call of Duty to have destructible environments.
Which I do remember that being cool.
Yeah.
I remember there was one level like a gas station where you could blow up the gas station and knock the whole roof down and everything on it. They also had a 4-player co-op mode against aliens.
Extinction. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good game mode. I liked it.
I didn't play much of that one. I felt like it was not quite enough zombies for it to be good. And they called the aliens cryptids, and I remember it just being really complicated how you had to like go and run back and forth and whatever. I didn't enjoy that one.
Honestly, I feel like every zombie game after the first initial one, it just kept getting more and more and more complicated.
They got so diverse.
I think that's the problem with them, is like it was fun, and then after that you're playing with. I was playing with like one of my friends. I'm like, how in the world do you know that you're supposed to do this? It's like YouTube. I'm like, I don't have to watch a YouTube video every time I want to play zombies.
My favorite Easter egg was in Mob of the Dead. It was Black Ops 2. And there was like 5 whiskey bottles around Mob of the Dead, like Alcatraz. And after you got the 5th one, it'd play a Johnny Cash song.
So I feel like they focus more on zombies than anything else.
They really do,
yeah. I did not play Advanced Warfare at all.
I don't think I did either.
I did.
But you did.
I did.
Okay. You can carry the conversation.
I liked it. That was the one where you got the jump pack.
Yep. First time they introduced the exosuits.
And then like they had the different kind of grenades, I think something like that where that's right. It's been a long time.
Did they have anti-gravity grenades in this one, or was this did they have those in the later one?
I don't think so.
No.
I just remember like people were giving it crap.
I just couldn't hit anything.
I loved it. I was actually I liked Ghosts a lot. Like I
enjoyed it too.
I got really good at Ghosts because the kill streak rewards for Ghosts, I had it lined up so it was good. But once I got to Advanced Warfare, I actually got good at playing, just because like the jump pack gave you a lot more leeway.
Mm-hmm. I remember you talking about this game a lot,
and it was so fun. Like it was a lot more fun. But at the same time, I think it got a lot more crap because it started delving too much into like the future. Like, well, this shouldn't be popular in a game.
Was this the one they added the energy rifles and whatever?
Yeah, they added energy guns in this one. They also had Kevin Spacey, which in retrospect might have not been a very good choice as a cameo. But he played a pretty big role. He was the main antagonist, Jonathan Irons, in this game. I remember seeing the commercials for this and it looking pretty good. It looked like this one they have like pre-rendered cutscenes.
I still had this on my 360 though.
You did?
I didn't have it on. Yeah, I didn't.
Did it run okay?
It ran okay.
Yeah, this one bridged the generation gap as well. So it had Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One.
They did that for a long time.
Yeah, they did. It was Sledgehammer's first game that they developed solo, and they did not get to make very many games after that.
No, they did not.
They added the exosuits like we talked about. They added movement abilities like boost, dash, and double jump. They also added exo abilities like an invisibility cloak that lasted for a few seconds. Did you play the campaign, or were you more of just a multiplayer?
I played the campaign a little bit, but I didn't finish it like I did with most of them. Mm-hmm. But I played multiplayer like a lot.
Brief synopsis about it is it was the first one to use pre-rendered cinematic cutscenes, based in 2054 to 2061, where you're playing as a U.S. Marine and you're attempting to repel North Korea out of Seoul. And the main character loses his arm, leading to the introduction of the Atlas program, where he gets a bionic arm and the exosuits. And basically, you're trying to keep Irons away from collecting Metacore, which is a form of bioweapon which kills anyone not in the Atlas database. And he wants to use it to attack every military base in the world.
That's a lot of stuff. It's complex.
Mm-hmm. They introduced the Pick 13 system. It is similar to Black Ops 2's custom classes. where they used kind of a point-based system where each thing was worth a different amount of points, so you could add it, and once you took up your 13 points, you were done.
Right.
So you could carry like 2 primary weapons, but it took a lot more points than having a primary and a secondary. Or you could veto a second gun altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I did in Black Ops 2 is I did not run perks. I used way more attachments than I used as much as attachments as I could.
I ran like my knife a lot, actually. Knife and a crossbow.
There you go.
And that's pretty much all I did.
I remember doing a lot with just one gun. I would do one gun and load up on perks because I liked having like the kill streak reducing, where it'd reduce one of your kills that you'd have to get for kill streaks. And playing with a headset, it was nice having the amplified footsteps and stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
Over 350 weapons due to weapon variants in this game. I thought that was crazy.
That is insane.
Did you mess with weapon variances at all?
Yeah. Not that I can remember much, but yeah.
As far as I understood it, it just basically changed the weapon status.
Mm-hmm.
But you could change from like bullets to energy weapons and stuff like that independently of the guns. I thought that was kind of cool.
The more we talk about these, the more I'm like, okay, so when I'd get a new Call of Duty game, I'd pretty much play the crap out of the game for the whole year. Mm-hmm. Then the next one come out and I play the crap. It's like as soon as the next one came out, I stopped playing the other one, and I'm like, we're sitting there talking about it, I'm like, man, this is a really good game. I should go back and play it.
Well,
I know I play, like I said, I played Infinite Warfare for a little bit, and I'm like, dang, I need to get a Call of Duty game. In this one, they introduced Exo Survival Mode. It's a wave-based match that sends continual units until all players are eliminated, basically. It's very similar to Survival Mode in World War III. And kind of going back to that, did you guys play Survival Mode at all?
Yeah, I didn't touch this game at all.
I played. This was in Modern Warfare 3, Survival Mode.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
It was really cool. Just like it says, wave based, but you got like attack helicopters would come after you, and juggernauts would come with a lot of armor and stuff. But on one of the maps, I was actually top in the world for like 5 weeks.
Hell yeah.
Just playing it solo. It was pretty cool. They also did Exo Zombies in this one.
I played Exo Zombies. It was pretty good.
It basically just enhanced the mobility of the zombies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you had to unlock the exosuit to get it yourself, which made the whole thing a lot easier.
Oh, that's
But I believe the zombies didn't get the exosuit until you did.
Oh, okay.
So
that was a part of the Havoc DLC, so you did have to pay for that mode.
Yep, it was not part of the original game.
Moving on, Black Ops 3, we're now in 2015. It was the last game to try and bridge the generation gap, so after this, they dumped the 360 and the PS3.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is where they added the wall run really anywhere. Mm-hmm. You can wall run it really anywhere. I thought the multiplayer was pretty well. This is where they added the characters in multiplayer. They all had the separate special abilities.
The specialists.
Yeah, the specialists.
Mm-hmm. That's similar to like Overwatch, right? Well,
I've never
not as cartoony.
Yeah,
right? You pick a character and they have different abilities and stuff.
Yeah.
They brought back the pick 10 system in this one, so they dropped the extra 3 points. And all specialists have unique weapons as well. Is that true? That was something.
Yeah.
I was seeing.
What
kind of unique weapons?
So there was one called the Annihilator. It was a revolver, one-shot kill.
That's kind of cool.
It was pretty cool, yeah. They all had a time limit. One was called Prophet. He had an energy rifle. Had to load up and boom, and he'd kill him. One big bolt.
That's cool.
Of electricity. They had Reaper. It was a robot, and he had a machine gun that came out of his hand, like a death machine, basically. Mm-hmm. They got rid of the death machine.
For that?
Yeah, they got rid of the death machine care package, and then they added that guy.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of the other ones. There was
one that had like the grenade launcher chick.
And then they had the bow. They had the explosive tips on it. Fire.
Funny side note about this. They only released the multiplayer for like Xbox 360 on this game. They didn't release the
campaign.
No, yeah, that's right.
And so it was only multiplayer. So I bought it because it was in the transition period where I didn't have my Xbox One yet. But I was like, okay, I really just want to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like maybe it's just because I didn't have the full game, but it didn't feel like it was a good enough game.
Did they still charge you full price for it?
It was
$60.
I can't remember. Was it full price for just the multiplayer?
I'm pretty sure it was.
It might have been.
Because it was supposed to include zombies too.
But yeah, I don't know. At that point, it didn't feel like a Call of Duty game as much anymore. Only because you had the specialists where you had like in some games you'd have everybody be the exact same person, and you're like,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Uh-huh.
And like when you go back to like some of the other games, with previous games where you could like make your own like tags or whatever, and there was some uniqueness to it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, now you're all the same person, and you also had like the animations and stuff after you'd win a battle for multiplayer, like they'd all be the same, and like if you had like me, I never got any of the extra animations or whatever unless you like earn them somehow. But like,
are they like emotes? Where,
like, we just had the emote,
whatever,
and everybody'd have the basic emote that was the same for that character. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I don't know. There was some good stuff and some bad stuff about that game, and I think the fact that it was so drastically different. Like, you go back to the previous game where it had like the exosuit, it still felt like the gameplay was the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just had the exosuit on it, and so yeah.
Going back to the player cards, I think it was Black Ops 2. I actually got banned from making a player card because I had a monkey smoking a joint, and someone like reported me, and I was never allowed to make a player card again.
That's
like an emblem.
Could you still play?
I could still play. I just like if I went into the emblem creator, it'd kick me all the way out of multiplayer. Like,
that's
you've been blocked. I'm like, what the fuck?
It just says on the screen,
yeah,
you're a douche.
Yeah, basically, like there's a monkey smoking a blunt. What did you got? What's so wrong with that?
I'd spend hours making my own little designs. So
I made the Pringles Man one time. It was like, it looked like the Pringles Man. It was like top-notch Pringles Man logo.
I made a Jordan Retro 4, and that's what I rocked every game after that.
I had one where it's like, it's one that's it's like a fist, and it's just he's holding like an axe, and he's got blood coming down his.
There you go.
And that's all I had ever.
That's cool.
After I'd made that.
Oh yeah.
The campaign for this one takes place in the year 2065, 40 years after the events of Black Ops 2. It is the first campaign designed to support 4-player co-op, so it made the maps a lot bigger and a lot more open for that. It also added player customization, so you could change the way that your character looked and dressed in this one. So it kind of made it almost RPG-ish, I guess.
Sorry guys, my allergies have been awesome today.
Campaign has a progression system that allows for unlocking of new weapons, gears, and abilities. So you actually had to spend like currency and level up before you could unlock certain things. The basic premise of the story is military technology is now to the point where soldiers can be augmented. So you're going to have kind of the exosuits implemented into people without actually wearing a suit. They're going to be augmented with different body parts and stuff. And drones are used in the majority of warfare now. And I didn't get very far in the campaign for this one, but supposedly they introduced time travel, and they use it to teleport to fractured timelines to locate certain characters. Like Takeo, he's a reoccurring character in the Black Ops franchise. They travel back in time to rescue him because he has knowledge to be able to end the war, basically.
Okay. I never played this game.
I didn't get to the time traveling stuff, but I guess that was a part of it towards the end, which I find kind of odd. And after completing the campaign, you unlock Nightmare Mode, which is changes the narrative and replaces enemies with zombies.
Oh, that's cool.
So you get to play through an entire campaign with zombies mode, basically.
Yeah, I did not play the campaign for this. It was strictly multiplayer for me.
Mm-hmm. On to Infinite Warfare. That's kind of what I spent some time playing this week. Came out November 4th, 2016. It is the first game to go fully into the current generation that we're at now. This one introduced space travel, zero gravity, and the ability to travel to different planets, satellites, and asteroids.
Yeah, I don't remember playing any of that.
Introduced the grappling hook along with booster packs, and also had aerial space combat that they really tried to focus on to make the combat and the traditional Call of Duty gameplay feel solid and polished.
Who developed this one?
This one, well, I do not have that in the notes. You want to look that up?
I will. I feel like it was Sledgehammer.
You play as Nick Reyes. He kind of he's introduced in the very beginning after you play this first mission where these people are on a moon around Jupiter, and basically they get murdered by the main bad guy, and so he's trying to he's trying to tell everybody that they should start like a war against them. And in the middle of that conversation, the SDF, the Settlement Defense Front, actually comes and attacks them. And basically the first mission or two, you're running through the city fighting off these guys. Earth has kind of used up all of its natural resources, so you've taken over to space travel and different space bases and everything like that. The world comes together and makes the United Nations Space Alliance, so there's not like America and Canada and Mexico and stuff like that. We're all combined into one.
This one was developed by Infinity Ward.
Okay, that makes sense. That would mean why they have zombies mode in it. And basically how the game ends is Reyes tells his right-hand man Salter to shoot. They take over a SDF spacecraft and they're flying around. The weapons are locked, but Reyes is able to unlock them, and they're on an SDF shipyard, and he tells Salter to shoot it, even though he is on the in the shipyard, knowing that he'll die. But he ends up blowing up the shipyard and landing a major blow against the SDF. It doesn't end the war there, which makes me wonder if they'll ever continue the story. But yeah, that's kind of how the campaign ends.
Yep, never played that one. Had its own zombie mode. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Did you play any of this one, Firewell?
I don't think so.
You have this one? I would like to check out.
They have a demo of it that you can download, and you get to play a lot of the game in this demo. And I don't know if they've just changed it over the years, but I thought the multiplayer was good. They introduced combat rigs, so in the beginning you could pick one of 3 combat rigs, where it's basically like this guy is built for running super fast with a submachine gun, this guy is built for sneaking around, and this guy is a all-around kind of good build. There's a total of 6 rigs in the game, and you get salvage points, which is kind of like currency to be able to use to purchase prototype weapons that are modified variants of in-game weapons. Each gun has 4 different prototypes: common, rare, legendary, and epic. The rigs allow players to perform thrusted jumps, sliding, and wall running, so they kind of bring back the wall running. And back to one of my points when I was talking about my gameplay is, one thing that I thought was bad is it felt like they tried to take the wall running from Titanfall, but they didn't do it very good. And they're like, here is the one place that you can run in this one spot, so you can run in that spot. But it also didn't control very well, and there were several times when I'd be wall running and all of a sudden I just dropped off and died, even though you can run across it and you get to watch your energy bar kind of deplete and everything. But yeah, they did that. The zombie mode had its own mechanics and story.
Can you access it?
What?
Through the demo, can you access zombie mode?
Yeah, you can access campaign, multiplayer, and zombies.
Cool.
They have they kind of made it more accessible for newer players. So they introduced point sharing and team buying doors. So you know how in normal zombies only one person could buy the door to unlock the next place. They introduced kind of a shared pool of currency that you can use.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's basically Infinite Warfare in a nutshell.
And that was packaged with Modern Warfare
Remastered.
Yeah.
It was. And that's the only way to get that one.
They released it on PlayStation as a free game of the month.
That's cool.
Yep. So that's how I got my hands on that. On to World War II.
Which I did not play this one at all, but you said that you had.
Yep. When I bought my PlayStation, I bought the World War II package. So the game came with it.
Cool.
Came out November 3rd of 2017. Campaign starts out at D-Day, so we're back in World War II. And they really nailed the experience in Normandy. Like, the hellfire those people had to go through. Like, that first part of that game was insane. It was very intense. It was really cool.
And this is Sledgehammer's last Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because they got taken off the Call of Duty project.
Which I think they really did. I think I liked Call of Duty World War II. I liked that the multiplayer, like, this is where they introduced, like, well, I guess it's not introduced, but they had weapon variants too. They didn't change the gun at all except for the appearance.
Okay.
Which I thought was cool. It was a collectible thing that you had to do, so you had to get this player card. You had to earn this thing and earn this thing or buy this thing. And you'd get different weapon variants. They were really cool, actually. I enjoyed unlocking those.
They kind of developed this game in response to Battlefield 1, right? Because Battlefield 1 went back to World War... They went back to World War 1.
Yeah.
And they did really, really good.
They
as
did.
As far as sales and stuff. So this is their response to it, right? Because this came out a year after.
Yep. They did well. I liked every aspect of the game, really. It was a pretty good Call of Duty.
Were there any other game modes other than campaign and multiplayer?
Nope. They added the party games, like gun game and whatnot. That was pretty cool.
I enjoy gun game.
Yeah.
Gun game's probably one of my favorites.
What's the one in the barrel?
Oh, one in the chamber.
Yeah,
One in the
that
chamber.
one's cool.
They didn't add all of them because I don't think Treyarch really allowed people to access
those.
all their party games, but except for gun game, that's been in quite a bit of Call of Duties.
Did they have Sticks and Stones? Because that was my favorite.
They did not.
I
have
did like Sticks and Stones.
Sticks and Stones was a lot of fun.
Dude, I just ran around with a hatchet. I was like, I'm fucking people's day up.
I have this. I wish I still had it saved. I'd have to dig back through and see. But I have this match ending point on one of the Black Ops 2 in Sticks and Stones. I'm standing on the bridge and it's that jungle level, and you know how they have the shacks clear on the other side.
Yep.
I took a tomahawk and I tossed it, and this guy rounded the corner of one of the shacks, and I hit him. And that was the last kill of the game.
That's
and I
awesome.
felt so cool.
You know what I hated more than anything was with YouTube. Everybody knew where to look to strategically throw those things at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And you just get fucking drilled.
And
in
you're
the
just
teeth.
you're like, all right, let's go. Oh, never mind. Then you watch the replay of it, and you're like, how in the world?
See, that would happen to me during search and destroy. So I'm like, I guess I'll
You're
wait
out
the
for
whole
the
round.
And the only reason people know how to do that is because they freaking watch YouTube videos.
Yep. That's awesome.
Anyways.
I have really cool. I actually have the clip. I'm gonna try to retrieve it so I can put it on Instagram. It was a gun game match in Black Ops 2, and it was the ballistic knife for the ending kill and the crossbow for the second. So like you had to kill with the crossbow to get that ballistic knife. I was on the Bowie knife, and as I shot, like I got stuck, and right before it blew up, like literally right before. I pulled the trigger and shot him directly in the face. And like as it hit him in the face, I blew up. It was the coolest thing ever.
All right, so we're on to the last game, and I will cover the campaign for this game. I will go fully in depth. This is Call of Duty Black Ops 4, released October 12th, 2018, and there is no campaign.
Not a single drop of story.
They on the Fortnite party bus.
Yeah, they have
party
one
bus.
of the best stories, arguably, in the Call of Duty franchise, and they killed it. They stopped it. They did not continue it.
Fuck that.
And
we're not doing that.
It still has the number 4 after it, and it still makes me angry. But yeah, they went on the Fortnite Battle Bus, and they released a Battle Royale mode called Blackout, which I think is really good.
I thought it was really good, too. I still play it to this day.
I played that and then went to try and play PUBG. Yeah.
I started on PUBG.
You could play PUBG and then play Blackout, but you cannot go the other way.
I like this Black Ops 4. They also brought back the Peacekeeper, which was a DLC in Black Ops 2. And they brought back the Galil, which is a Black Ops 1 gun. And it's actually really good. I like that they're adding those. And it's cool they have a couple Easter eggs in Blackout. They have, so I remember the transit zombie map. And you can go to the diner.
Yeah.
Well, diner's in Blackout. Like, it's all their maps bundled into one big ass map. It's really cool. And if you get on top of diner, sometimes there's a mystery box up there and it gives you a gun.
That's
really cool. Yeah. And there is zombies within the Blackout map in certain areas.
And they give you like higher tier weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. They did continue the zombie mode and multiplayer. Honestly, didn't touch that at all. And watching like YouTube videos and stuff, I don't think a lot of people really did. I don't know though, because I never saw a lot of people. They were all on Blackout.
Yeah. Blackout did kill a little bit of the zombies, but I have played it. Zombies are still awesome on it. They're still fun. I haven't bought any DLC for the game, so I'm not too sure about that. They added a bunch of specialists to the multiplayer, so I continued on with that. I think there was only, 6 in Black Ops 3?
Yeah, there were only 6.
Yeah.
They added 4. They probably have 10 or 11.
Really?
Yeah. And what's cool is like when you said all of them were the same on Black Ops 3, everybody chose the same one. You can't do that no more. Like if one person chooses one, then you can't choose that one.
That's cool.
It blocks it off.
Did you play Blackout at all, Firemouth?
I did not.
No. I thought it was cool. It's definitely more of a polished PUBG. I feel like it makes me wonder how they're going to continue on with the series. And that's kind of what I want to close this conversation on is where do you think they're going from here? They have Blackout for Black Ops 4. It's a huge battle royale game right now. Do you think they're going to continue that? Do you think they'll make it free to play? Do you think they'll make a battle royale version for Modern Warfare?
I hope they don't for Modern Warfare. I don't want them to.
I don't know. I feel like at this point when they jumped on that bandwagon, they're like, we're out of ideas. We don't know what to do.
Well, they dropped a campaign, so
right.
I will give them that Sledgehammer got taken off the cycle, so they got bumped a year up.
Yeah.
So they originally weren't supposed to be making Black Ops, so I know that probably put a lot of pressure on them. But
they only had 9 months.
Yeah.
I think if they do make a Black Ops again, I think they'll do a modern one because they haven't yet.
I think they'll either drop Black Ops as a side story altogether or reboot it like they are Modern Warfare. And that kind of scares me. I hope they're not taking all of their ideas and now rebooting it and starting over. I feel like World War II is rebooting, Call of Duty 1, 2, 3 and World War. And I feel like they're rebooting the Modern Warfare series now. And I worry that next is going to be Black Ops.
They have a lot of stuff to continue on.
I would love to see Call of Duty go the Assassin's Creed route. Assassin's Creed is released once every 2 or 3 years now instead of every year.
So their games are really good.
You don't get fatigue.
Yeah.
As much.
I feel like if they took a small team and just kept them on, keeping the multiplayer fresh, a few updates, keeping the Battle Royale mode going, I think they'd succeed a lot more. If you look at Activision as a company, they've kind of dwindled in their games. They let Bungie go, so now they don't have Destiny. They released the Crash Bandicoot games, and that's really about it. They've got Crash, Spyro, and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I think they need to pump out some newer stuff.
And bring back Tony Hawk. Bro, come on. Tony Hawk Underground, let's get it.
Well, we were
Come on,
talking about
Activision.
like what we're playing. Like you were talking about Siege.
Yeah, Rainbow Six.
How old is that game?
It's about 5 years old.
Yeah, and everybody still loves playing it.
If you like, we were talking about this in our first episode. Look at side by side year one and current year. Like, it's unbelievable how much that game has changed.
All you have to do is find a game that people love, stick with it, and keep putting stuff out.
Yeah.
To help the players want to keep playing it.
We looked up how many operators. Was it 48 operators?
48 operators in Siege.
It's insane.
See, and I haven't played it for a couple of years at least because I started sucking at it.
Yeah.
So bad because everybody else has not put it down, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I played
back
it
to the
religiously
drawing
for the
board.
last 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if they took an idea, rolled with it, and kept it up even for 3 years, I think they could really increase some of their quality output. Like, I think the Call of Duty games look really good. I talked about Metro Exodus. I thought the game looked like garbage.
Yeah.
Comparing it to Infinite Warfare, which is 2 or 3 years old, and that game looked phenomenal.
There's just so much you can do with DLC now.
And like
that you couldn't do early
Or
on in the Call of Duty games. That now you'd be like, okay, well, let's take this game and let's just let it go for 3 years, and we'll just keep put like free content or whatever out.
guys, graphics have gotten insane. Like,
Yeah.
we've seen that video on Reddit on Battlefield 5 where this
The
dude was
ray
about
tracing.
when the guy was about to round a corner but seen a shadow and he turned around and fucking knocked got him down. Like, that's insane. He noticed a shadow, so he just turned and shot, and it was an advantage. He saw a shadow. It's insane.
Yeah.
They're adding shadows into video games, and it's awesome. What do you mean ray tracing? What were you saying?
Ray tracing's the new technology coming out with some of those new graphics cards. It's supposed to be in the next gen consoles, but basically it's like you can put a light source in a game, and that light source will travel and interact with the player and the environment.
It's like the light source for the whole entire map for everybody.
So it makes it possible to do like real-time reflections and real-time shadows and stuff like that, where that kind of stuff can't really be done
That's
now
awesome.
as much. But, yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Firemouth. Is there anything you want to close with or shout out or anything?
No.
That is perfectly fine. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. We put a lot of work into this episode. Sorry it's a lot longer than our first one. Remember to like, rate, and share the podcast. We're just starting out. We really want to get this into the ears of as many people as we can. If you rate us and leave us a review, that really helps us out. We also have an Instagram and Twitter. Our Instagram handle is GameAholicsPodcast, and our Twitter is GameAholicsPod1, because apparently you can't have that many letters in a Twitter name. So, yeah, we had to stick with that.
Only social media to cut off how much you can write.
Yeah. And Twitter is a dying art, I definitely think. Somebody's going to come after me for saying that. But.
No, I honestly think that Twitter is more, I don't know, more influential than I think that we give it credit for.
I use it for sports.
Maybe you need to sit down with me and teach me how to travel Twitter, because I don't use a thing on Twitter.
Yeah. It's not visual. It's not nearly as visual as like Instagram or whatever. But
well, if you look at, like, for example, our Twitter, it's just the posting of the Instagram, because you can link your Twitter to your Instagram, you hit the switch, and it sends it over. It cuts it off, but, so that's all it is. Feel free to email us. Our email is gameaholicspodcast@gmail.com. Email us stories about Call of Duty, your favorite games, anything you'd like us to talk about on the show, anything like that. And Archer, I know, posted a gaming video on the Instagram, so go and check that out. I think we'll kind of be pumping some content over to the Instagram page as far as gameplay. Anyway, this has been Kickler, Archer, and Firemouth. Thanks for tuning in.
peace.